All right, 22.3 was just announced. Well, after it was leaked an hour before that, but whatever, here we go. We got K-Starr, we have Pamela. We're gonna walk you through a little warm-up, walk you through some gymnastics stuff, give you our tips and tricks. Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, Mayhem family? Whew, the final week, how are you feeling? I hope you're feeling grand, and I hope this has been a way to sort of highlight and look at some of our behaviors. I know we're obsessed with going fast, and we love to use these workouts as tests, but also it's a wonderful way to let us know how we're managing our sleep, how we're managing our nutrition, and every once in a while I really like to put some difficult task into my life, something like the Open, where I can just sort of think about this as a truth test, because one of the things that we know is that after a while with CrossFit, even if the workouts are difficult, you don't really lose anything if you stayed up late, or you don't really lose anything if you haven't been on your nutrition or not taking care of your recovery, or you're hyper stressed at work. But suddenly when you have this thing hanging over your head, it matters. So that's what I'm hoping that you understand, is that it's a wonderful way to sort of examine sort of the behaviors of your life that are aggregating into, do I have better performance? Am I able to unlock that peak performance? It doesn't mean we have to live under that heightened state all the time where we're really, sort of stressed and we're dialing up our performance or nutrition. But it means that in times of stress or in times of need, or when I have something else, maybe I can tighten up the behaviors a little bit. So that's how I love it. Congratulations on getting to the final week. We're gonna keep it simple this week. So we've got chest to bar pull-ups, we've got double unders, and we've got some thrusters, of course. So what I'm gonna focus on is just a couple ideas. One is that rotation is going to matter. And so as I fatigue out in my kind of ability to move effectively, rotation of the shoulder is one of the things that goes. And so as I kind of fatigue out, my elbows will flare, and then I won't load as well on the way down. Subsequently, what ends up happening is I end up in less effective positions. So if I can prime that rotation, I can maintain movement efficiency. Double unders are gonna cook us, and we're gonna end up doing weird stuff, and then pressing. And so we have a couple ideas. One is we're gonna show you a quick rotation primer again, remind you that. I'm gonna show you a couple of positions maybe you haven't been in. Two is I'm gonna make it easier for us to get chest to bar pull-ups. So I'm gonna make it easier for us to finish this notion of getting here. And a lot of times what ends up happening, especially when I'm missing rotation or missing this extension, is that my chest to bar pull-ups suffer a little bit. So we're gonna make it easier to get into pure extension. I've got a simple drill for that. And then finally, I'm just gonna make sure that we're really primed on the bottom position of the squat, but torso upright. So 3 ideas, bear with me. Okay, crew, first idea is just a rotation prep. Again, a few of reps, get warm, get a little burn, that's okay. I've got this rack set up, and I've got this thin band in the J-hooks. And thinking about double undering, it's really this position. It's almost hang shape, right? In this shape, in a long lever position or a short lever position. So I'm gonna put the arm out to the side. I'm just gonna get some rotation. I'm really gonna exaggerate getting this armpit forward. I can add more resistance by putting a little more resistance in the band, give myself some slack if I don't. But instead of just doing this with the wrist, which is what's gonna happen when we fatigue, I wanna make sure that my rotator cuff is primed. And that means I need to have this independent rotation happening. I can move that scapula around if I want, but just getting this, you'll see, you're like, wow, it's starting to cook the pieces that are trying to pick up from my lack of rotation at the shoulder. So get that rotation, again, 10, 20 reps, it's fine. It doesn't take much to remind your brain. Now, since we're here, thumb underneath, and we can do the same thing up top, especially since I'm trying to spend some time prepping the top. Of course, we've got our classic band distractions that we've been doing overhead for the last few weeks. Those are great if you're missing that overhead position. Today we're gonna work on priming, because you're gonna end up overhead no matter what twice. So with the pull-up and the thruster. So get a little rotation in here. You can play at an angle that might even represent where your pull-up grip is. Even if it's not all the way here, it might represent also sort of where your grip is on the bar. But even just hitting this rotation, getting some of that rotation primed, and making sure I have choice here will make a difference. And you're all of a sudden you're gonna feel like, wow, I'm a little bit burned, but it's burning. But man, What a difference of just some input into the brain there. So again, I've got this kind of prime rotation in this shape to help the double unders get my rotator cuff engorged with blood. You'll have plenty of time to recover, go overhead, do the same thing, and it'll feel easier to be connected to the bar and to end up rewinding into that good front rack position. So rotation primers, number 1. Hey crew, second mobilization to improve our chest to bar pull-ups. This is part of our bully series, and you've seen some of the bully that we've been working on. We're tucking that elbow in behind the back to work into rotation. Today we're gonna work on more extension in a short lever position, which is my finish position for my chest to bar pull-ups. So what I do is I've just hooked a band to a rack, and I'm gonna get into a bench-like position. So look what I'm doing here. The band is just sort of in line with the forearm, just like I'm finishing chest here, except I'm gonna just rotate that arm vertically. And then I'm just gonna put some load into this thing and let that shoulder retract, and then I'm just gonna open up. So it's opening up into this rotation while that scapula retracts. And I can just do some contract, relax here. I can take some breaths here, making sure I have some access to this position. Getting that scapula closer to the spine in this position. And again, opening that up so I feel like my elbows don't have to flare, but I can have access. And simultaneously, it's pushing me into a little bit of this shoulder extension position. So don't dump the shoulder forward, keep it back, take some breaths, throw some contract, relax in here. I'm just making sure I have an isometric control. Again, I can rotate around a little bit, just let that elbow open and let that keep getting pulled back. And what's gonna happen here is just after 1 minute or so, wow, that makes it a lot easier for me to drive that elbow back and get my bar to the chest or chest to bar with less effort and without this compensation. Because pulling into this shape is a really tricky shape. Pulling into this shape is a really strong shape. So what we're trying to do is just make it so that I have better access with my shoulder blade here, better choice. And what you'll see is that will make that pull-up more efficient. Enjoy. All right, lastly, crew, what we're gonna do is take that classic band, low, pretty thick band, I'm gonna step into it. And the magic here is we're really gonna force our hips open in this bottom position with an upright torso. So it goes low on the hips, I'm gonna sit down, and what this is gonna do is it's gonna bring my hips forward. So I'm gonna end up loading this position. I can shove my knees out here, but the difference between kind of classically when we're working on our bottom shapes and this position is that as the hips come through, suddenly I get my torso upright. So I can really feel what it's like to be able to hit this bottom position and not feel like I'm leaning and dumping forward. So the more I can get upright and just play around with this bottom shape, you'll see that we can turn out and access some of our corners that we might not be able to get into. Or if I'm missing range of motion, even if you're here with your toes or heels off the ground, that's okay. Just working on having that hip be pulled forward and being able to get my torso upright. So even if I'm putting my arms over my head or practicing, or even just doing some light presses with the PVC pipe, what you're gonna see is being able to hit this bottom position and keep the torso more vertical is gonna make this a lot more comfortable. So you've got your normal workup, look, your normal prep. Everyone knows that we do a lot of thrusters around here. So you know how to get primed for that. We've got some rotation primers. You've seen some of the language from things we do during the week. But definitely behooves you to spend some time really thinking about what the difficult shape is going to be. And the more efficient I can be down here in this bottom position, opening up my hips. And notice that I'm just rocking back and forth, playing with kind of opening and rotating and just finding the corners, getting my ankles open and hips open. It will make it a lot easier to be able to sit straight down to that bottom position and rise up and press. So this band around your butt, dragging your hips forward, get that torso upright, you'll be right as rain.
All right, 22.3 was just announced, and it's tons of fun. We got 21 pull-ups, 42 double unders, 21 thrusters, 18 chest to bar, 36 double unders, 18 thrusters, 15 bar muscle-ups, 30 double unders, and 15 thrusters. The bar will go up in weight, and the movement technically goes up in skill as we go. I think we could have guessed the thrusters and the pull-ups part of it, or chest to bar. I don't think we saw this coming. It's moderately heavy barbell, but not super heavy. But here we go. Basically, I think, in my head, we're thinking we've got two separate ways to attack this. If you're a stronger athlete, the barbell is where you kind of make up your time or try to do those sets unbroken. Controlled sets, nothing to failure on the bar, on the pull-up bar. And then if your gymnastics are your thing, that's where you're gonna make up your time and you're gonna break your thrusters into smart and manageable sets. I feel like the double unders are pretty non-existent. There's 108 of them. You can make up a little bit of time, I guess, too, though, if you decide to actually attack those each time versus use them as a rest. You can also use those as a rest. There's not a ton of them. It gives you a little bit of a break from the pull-up bar to the bar. You know, if gymnastics are easy for you, make sure you're using those legs on the thrusters. Let the arms kind of just go through the motion. And then if the gymnastics are hard for you, or did I say that right? Reverse it. I don't know. Anyway, if the gymnastics are hard for you, use your legs. If the gymnastics are easy for you, then use your arms a little bit more on the thruster. So,
yeah, this is a classic open workout in the sense of a ton of high heart rate. You're gonna get a huge pump, basically the whole body, shoulders to legs because of the thruster with the gymnastics. So using this as a recovery is key. Try to keep a loose grip as much as possible here and try to not fry out your shoulders by letting those wrists get super far away from your body. Pamela will have some great tips on the bar specific to using a good kip because efficiency will pay off over time. Really what the biggest factor in once you get fit enough is probably a big grip factor there for sure.
Thruster open.
Yeah, open hand grip here. And then we talked about instead of me going here closed grip, I'll do one rep here like that. If I loosen up my grip and then go open palm with a little bit wider, it's gonna shorten my range of motion for every single rep like that. So that's gonna pay off over time throughout the workout there as well as you're doing that. If you're an elite workout, elite athlete, you basically have to try to go unbroken if you want a top time with somewhat quick transitions, maybe like a quick breath before those big set of the heavy thrusters. But otherwise you're going fast and moving fast the entire time. If you're just trying to get the workout done, you can definitely break these earlier rather than later. So that 135 or 85 bar is more manageable. Same thing with the 15 bar muscle ups to the end. Break that 21 pull-ups until 11, 10, maybe 3 sets on the chest to bar and then bar muscle up, try to hang on longer. So we do lots of workouts like this in programming, so you should
do a lot
ready.
of sets of this workout.
Yeah, we do maybe 2 or 3 of this workout, but you should definitely feel prepared.
Yeah, you should feel all right. A couple things you were saying. Wider grip on the thruster, shortens the range of motion. Wider grip on the pull-up bar. Obviously, air to Pamela, what she says, because she's the professional in the gymnastics side of things. I like to mess around and move my grip in and out a little bit, maybe go a little wider grip if cycle rate is going to be where you make up your time on this one. So be thinking about that. And
definitely. If you're on Mayhem Athlete, check the workout prep notes, the warm-up. We'll have K-Starr in there with all the mobility warm-up. We want to get super hot going this workout, high heart rate, legs, shoulders really warm, primed, ready to go.
What's up, Mayhem Nation? We are on 22.3 and I am super excited because we get to be on the rig this week. So I'm going to break this down for fire breathers first. While we only have 21 pull-ups, I want to minimize the time that you spend on the rig at first because this will give your grip a little bit more rest and also you'll expend a little less energy. So I want your cycle time really fast, which means you're gonna do a quick kickback versus a longer type scoop, which takes more time and a little more energy. So practice that before you hop on. You wanna think about staying within a small space and firing back those toes into the arch as fast as possible. When we get to the chest to bar, this is where you really can use your swing in your hip to help generate some power instead of all arms, which are getting taxed on the thrusters and double unders. So I want you to have that good scoop, and then you're gonna drive that hip open in order to get that chest to the bar. When you get to the bar muscle ups, if you're really good at them, don't go to 100% right away because you have still a good amount of them. So make sure you do sets that you can keep up the capacity. Sometimes singles or doubles are honestly fast as well too. When you're tired, make sure you are still providing tension. So I want you to pull down on the rig and keep a nice tight swing. So you hold tension in the arch and then press up into your support. Try to not make this gigantic swing again, because once again, that will just use up some more energy that you need to save for all the reps. If you are decent at the rig, I want you guys to break up earlier than you think. This is gonna catch up really quick. There's a lot of rig movements, and a lot of the movements are gonna be taxed from all the other stuff you're doing as well too. So it's sometimes faster to do small sets, drop down, and then count to 3 and go right back up. Remember, tension is key, especially when you are tired. So the tighter your body is, the more efficient it will move through space.
Hey y'all, if you're here for 22.3 scaled version, I've got your back. Today we've got 21 jumping pull-ups, 42 single unders, 21 thrusters, then we're going back to 18 pull-ups, 36 single unders, 18 thrusters, and finishing up with 15 chest to bar, 30 single unders, and 15 thrusters. Each thruster weight will ascend, and we got a 12-minute time cap. Hey y'all, what's up? Last workout, 22.3, let's make it the best one. So for scaled, we're starting with jumping pull-ups. So on the jumping pull-ups, a tip that I have for you is really trying to utilize those legs to get that chin up over the bar. Use that jump here, especially if you know that the pull-ups and chest to bar are gonna be something difficult for you to attain or make big sets on. So Kelsey's gonna show us a rhythm. So if we can get into this rhythm of making sure we're getting that full extension of the elbows, but getting that bounce back up and down, that's something that might be able to help you on those jumping pull-ups. As you progress through the workout into the regular pull-ups and chest to bar pull-ups, I definitely recommend breaking early, like breaking before failure here. We want to eliminate as many no reps as possible, and also make sure you guys check out Pamela's video of her tips for the chest to bar and pull-ups. Also in the workout, in between the pull-ups and the thrusters, we have single unders. Not very many single unders. We got a set of 42, a set of 36, and a set of 30. So this is where we really want to try and recover, keep the grip relaxed as best we can, let the traps come down and stay relaxed, and just catch our breath on those single unders. Definitely the rest part of the workout. And then we finish up, we've got some thrusters. When we're on the thrusters, especially in the beginning, it can get really, you can get the adrenaline pumping and you're going super fast. We want to focus on getting that good bounce out of the bottom, driving up and squeezing the hips and glutes and firing to get the bar nice up and tall, so we use as little arms as possible, focusing on that lower half. Similar to the chest to bar and the pull-ups, we want to break smart here if we know we're going to be breaking them up. If we're really strong on the barbell and we know we're going to go unbroken, that's fine. And then one last tip, try to keep that grip relaxed on those thrusters so we can save it for the other movements. Last one, you guys got it. Let's get after it and have some fun.
If you're here for 22.3 foundations, I've got you. So we are starting out with 21 bent over rows, 42 jumping jacks, and then 21 thrusters. Those thrusters are gonna be at 45 pounds for guys and 35 for ladies. And then we have 18 jumping pull-ups, 36 jumping jacks, and then 18 thrusters. Finishing it out with 15 jumping chest to bar, 30 jumping jacks, and 15 thrusters. Good luck.
All right, guys, so foundations. We are actually starting out with the bent over rows with the barbell. So teacher's gonna show us how. She is gonna have a flat back here, not gonna be rounding over, and she's just gonna pull that barbell to the torso and back down below the knee, and that makes a good rep. So if you're able to, with that barbell, try to keep it unbroken. This is your first movement. So we have 21 of those. If you're not able to keep that broken, go ahead, break now. Plan it ahead of time. From there, we have jumping jacks. So teacher's gonna demonstrate how we are clapping at the top here and touching our sides. There's a lot of jumping going on in foundations between this, jumping pull-ups, jumping chest to bar. So just really try to keep your heart rate under control here and make sure that every rep counts. Clap, tap. All right, from there we have our jumping pull-ups, making sure that your arms are extended fully each time and your chin is getting over the bar. If you are able to get into a rhythm with it, then you're welcome to do that, but just make sure those arms are fully locking out. And then towards the end of the workout, we have jumping chest to bar. So this is gonna be a time where your heart rate's high and you're fatigued, so take those slow, make sure each time your chest is touching the bar. And then with those thrusters, go ahead and break early if you need to, but time it right and set that barbell down, making sure you're getting below parallel, locking out at the top. So good luck.
All right, gang, let's talk recovery this week. So as a reminder, one of the behaviors that we typically see in athletes who finish a big event is they do an immaculate job prepping and even taking care of themselves sort of mid-event, and then afterwards, they just ghost ride this ship, right? They think, I am done, I don't need to put more input in. But what I want you to think is, hey, I've just come out of this really intense session. Let me take advantage of all the adaptation responses from that session. So instead of saying, oh, I need a week off, I'm so stressed or so burned out, let's make sure that we're consummating that recovery cycle so that we don't sort of roll into the week diminish. So probably our volume's gonna come back down a little bit. That's okay. We want you to recover, but I wanna make sure that you're not sort of being ghosted by this last effort. The accumulation of these 3 big efforts in a row sometimes can lead us to sort of, again, we talked about at the beginning, decreased fitness because I was so worried about being fit and training during the week or competing during the week that I can't maintain my fitness. And then secondarily, we see that oftentimes people just get super stiff. So after these big events, so let's be disciplined athletes. Let's take care of our tissues. Now, you know whatever is sore you can put on, right? You can mobilize that, decrease that DOMS. Today I'm gonna give you 3 ideas that I feel like sort of will really help you feel better, but are maybe aren't on your radar versus classic like quad mobilization. You don't need to do that. So the first one is I've got this little kettlebell, or any kettlebell, and the second is what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right behind my shin bone here. I'm going to be able to hit my gastroc, but I'm also going to be able to hit this posterior tib and some of the other tissues behind here. And I love this at home, even if you just have a ball and you're just stacking the ball, but addressing this in as a sneaky way, being able to come into the calf obliquely at a different angle, and then just work behind here. That posterior tib's been working hard to give you some input into that calf, supporting the arch. It's required for jumping, but you'll find that you're like, wow, I can hit my soleus and calf a little bit differently here. Now, if you're super clever, you could even make a little stack and be getting something done on both sides. So, that is juicy. So I just took my peanut, put it right below here. And again, idea here is just to say, hey, I can work on this a little bit different angle. I'm just making a sandwich. We call this stacking, and you're gonna see that, again, coming straight in behind the shin with a peanut underneath gives me a lot of agency and a little bit different stimulus into my calf versus kind of classic calf mobilization, okay? So 2 or 3 minutes until you feel better. Notice I'm adding a ton of movement in my foot. That's number 1. Number 2 is I do think it's worthwhile to get into your lats here. Those high pull-ups, those high rep pull-ups can do a lot here, but make sure that you're giving that figure 8, that you're scrubbing back and forth. But more importantly, of course, getting into the shoulder is good and adding rotation and hitting that rear of the shoulder, but I want you to chase this lat down into your back. So I've just got a peanut here, a roller, and appreciate that the lat comes all the way down into this thoracic seam. And if I can get into that tissue, I oftentimes can make my back feel better. We tend to see that high rep pull-ups cause lat stiffness. And what ends up happening is that lat stiffness drives a little extension in the spine. And that extension can make my athletes a little bit sensitive. So high rep pull-ups sometimes can make my athletes' backs feel a little extension sensitive, and spending some time making sure that you're addressing that lat tissue all the way down. This is still my lat all the way down here. So working that lat from the armpit and really thinking, hey, I'm gonna get into the middle of my back and make a difference. Last thing, promise some stacking. We're gonna stack with the quads. So what I can do here is put a peanut below and a peanut above. And now I've got some VMO work and I'm stacking. and I can stack and immobilize that quad just a little bit differently. So this gives me a chance to address what tends to get stiff after thrusters, sort of VMO stuff. It allows me to hit some adductors and just play back and forth. So I've got a peanut down below, a mobility ball, this is the Nova in between, and I just add a little motion. This could be a roller above or below, and just cycle back and forth, pin back and forth. That motion can help diminish that session cost, diminish that soreness, but stacking can make you feel a lot better. Again, idea here, let's have a slightly different stimulus. Let's make sure that we're exploring and consummating this whole training cycle. Great job. We'll see you next time.